Hey everyone, good morning. Just a few days left in 2018. Hope you're having a great holiday season. Welcome into Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. If you're on the line with us right now, you are probably hardcore and probably have heard the spiel a number of times, so I will spare you. And we will talk about the channel a little bit later, but mostly this is all about football, of course, because this is one of the biggest days of the year. It used to be New Year's Day was the day for postseason college football. It's now become the college football playoff day, which this year is not New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. It is December 29th. All right, so we've got a couple undercards to start us out at the Peach Bowl with Michigan, Florida, also South Carolina and Virginia at the Belk Bowl. And we've got a Nevada and San Diego State game. And I've got to tell you off the top of my head, I don't even remember what bowl game that is. They should not be playing leading into the college football playoffs on a different network. But that particular network believes they can make money. I believe that's CBS Sportsnet, where you can catch San Diego State and Nevada. So unless you're a family member or really love that style of football or ingrained in that conference, you're probably an alum of Nevada or San Diego State, then you're going to watch that game. I would normally watch it if it was exclusive. But versus Michigan, Florida, and South Carolina, Virginia, no. Unless both those games are 45-0 and I see Nevada and San Diego State are 21 all with 5 minutes left, then I'm tuning to that game. Then, of course, the games that count toward a championship at the Cotton Bowl. First off, we have Clemson and Notre Dame. Then we've got Oklahoma and Alabama. We've got a couple double-digit spreads. And I'm sure you know what the history of the college football playoff is. There have only been a couple of close games in the semifinals. Year one, we had a blowout with Oregon and Florida State. It was a close game into the third quarter, about halfway through the third quarter, still a close game. I believe at that point, Florida State's last lead was something in the 18-13 range, something like that. Or maybe they were trailing 18-13. I remember 18-13. I believe Florida State was trailing, but driving toward a go-ahead score, and Dalvin Cook fumbled. And I believe that was one of 3 fumbles for Dalvin Cook. Of course, Jameis Winston had the famous play in which he was stumbling and bumbling and backpedaling and threw the ball way up in the air for a fumble, and Oregon took it all the way for the touchdown and routed Florida State 59-20. The other semifinal game was a classic of Giants in college football as Ohio State survived Alabama 42-35. So that's one great semifinal game in 5 years. The next season, we had 2 blowouts. We had the complete annihilation of Alabama over Michigan State, 38-0. The game was 7-0 with about 5 minutes left in the second quarter. So Alabama didn't come out drive number 1 and dominate the game. It was a hard-fought game for about a quarter and a half, almost a complete half. And if you remember correctly, Alabama was up either just 7-0 or 10-0 late in the first half. Michigan State drove down the field, was in the red zone, was inside the 10-yard line, and Connor Cook threw an end zone interception, or it would have been either 7-7 or 10-7 at the half. And that pretty much caved in Michigan State, and the second half was dominated by Bama. In the other semifinal, really good game. I believe it was 10-9 Clemson, Oklahoma at halftime, and then Clemson dominated the second half and won 40-21. Then you had 2016, in which both semifinal games were routes. Ohio State blasted by Clemson 31-0. And the other semifinal game, of course, was Alabama and Washington. Washington hung around. The defense played really well despite the offense not doing anything. The Huskies scored on the first drive of the game. That was Dante Pettis with a touchdown reception from Jake Browning. Washington led 7-0. Bama came back quickly, tied it, and then took the lead, had a 1-2 score lead at 14-7, 17-7, and then they stretched it out from there 24-7. So not really a competitive fourth quarter, but Washington hung around and had opportunities, but turned the ball over way too many times and couldn't move it on offense. 2017, of course, Bama and Clemson was a defensive struggle in which Bama slowly pulled away. It was in that 10-3, 10-6 range. And there was a key moment in the second half in which Bama had a less than touchdown lead in the third quarter. Clemson was driving, and there was a forced fumble, interception, crazy play in which Kelly Bryant was ambushed, and the ball popped in the air. It was picked off and run, and I forget who that was. It might have been Dalton Tomlinson who ran it all the way into Clemson territory down to the 10 or 15-yard line. Bama scored to take a 2-score lead and went on to win 24-6. The other semifinal game was, of course, Georgia and Oklahoma, a classic in overtime at the Rose Bowl, 54-48. Two great games in semifinals. And those games were expected for the most part, although Bama was a 10 or 11-point favorite against Ohio State. And Georgia was a significant favorite against Oklahoma. Not a huge favorite, but like a solid touchdown favorite against the Sooners last year. So we've had two great semifinal games. We've had a few others that went into the second half being competitive games, and then we've had a couple annihilations. So not a great series of games, considering these are the top four teams, supposedly the top four teams in the country through 5 years. That's 10 games, and we've had two great ones. Now, this year, we've got two games that are supposed to be blowouts in Alabama with a 14-point spread over Oklahoma. And right now, it's about 12.5 points, the spread between Clemson and Notre Dame, according to Vegas. I will check out the live stream. I want to sneak in my predictions since I did not produce a separate video of my college football bowl predictions for today. For those of you that follow my predictions, you know that I disclaimed and apologized that I missed about 4 games between the opening weekend and the second weekend. I got so crazy busy with a number of things going on, both personally and professionally, that I just completely forgot to pick some games for the first time since 1982. Forgot to pick some bowl games. Forgot to pick any college football games for the first time since 1982. So my record doesn't add up to the number of bowl games. And because of missing those previous games, I don't feel bad about not predicting Nevada and San Diego State. Not Nevada and San Diego State. Who are they playing? Nevada and I forget. San Diego State already played Ohio. Whoever Nevada is playing today, I've lost track of the games, but I'm not going to predict that game. It's basically a flip of the coin. It's a 1-point spread. I've not seen either team play. Arkansas State. It was Arkansas State and Nevada are playing today at an inopportune time against Florida, Michigan, and South Carolina, Virginia, leading into the playoffs. So here are the predictions for today. Game number 1, we've got Florida, Michigan at the Peach Bowl. Michigan's missing a number of players. Their backups are extremely capable. So I don't believe that there's a huge fall off in most situations. Rashawn Gary is the biggest loss. Karan Higdon is the Michigan back that they've completely relied on. While most top teams have 2 or 3 running backs, Alabama 4, that can fill the gap and fill the role with little letdown. Michigan, not necessarily with the likes of Chris Evans and company. I like Florida not only with the points, despite what we've seen the last 2 times these teams have played. This is a 3rd time in 24 months. I think it's ridiculous. I don't care what the system of selecting the teams for the various bowl games is. They should have been able to work this out in a sensible way to say Michigan and LSU have never played. They are 2 great all-time programs, and they've never played. That's a great storyline, Michigan, LSU. And, of course, UCF and Florida is the game everyone wants to see as well for the unofficial Florida State Championship. We've seen Michigan and Florida play now 3 times in 24 months. There are teams in the SEC and the Big Ten that Michigan and Florida have not played at all in the last 24 months, and they faced each other 3 times now. So that was dumb. And then UCF and LSU in a vacuum all by itself. Great game, great matchup. If they were playing in September and there were no other options, I would say I want to see that game, UCF and LSU. But UCF should be playing Florida and Michigan against LSU. That said, I like Florida plus the 6 points. I like Florida to upset Michigan outright. Also in the other game, LSU and UCF, I got to say, I'm sitting here right now and I've not decided. So I've got to decide right now. Or not, they're playing on New Year's Day. I'm all mixed up. South Carolina, Virginia. I've got time to select the LSU UCF winner. I like South Carolina to cover the 4.5 points. I am not impressed with Virginia's personnel. I do appreciate that they've been coached well by Bronco Mendenhall. He's done a tremendous job taking over a program that was in shambles, slugging through the first season at 2-10, going 6-6 before being throttled by Navy in the bowl game last year, and now getting to this particular place in being able to play in a decent bowl near the end of the season. In amongst all these high-powered bowls that Virginia is still in play against a South Carolina team that finished 7-5 in the SEC, and that would have made them 4-4 in the SEC in conference play. I like South Carolina, too talented, too explosive for Virginia. I know that Deebo Samuel's not playing, but I like South Carolina to win and to cover the 4.5 points. I believe those are the spreads. I'm going to double check those. Those are the lines that I played. And then the 2 college football playoff games I will get to in just a second. I just want to double check the lines, and I want to join the live chat as well and remind you that you can call me. We've got about 10 to 15 minutes before the 2 games kick off, 860-325-3687. And in the meantime, I will determine whether we're going to do a watch party, or you guys can let me know if you'd like to do a watch party for any of the games today. And of course, if you'd like to get that last look, that last feel, that last preview or angle on any of the games, I've got them all covered multiple ways from multiple teams' perspectives. All the games today I have covered at some point and have delivered previews. Michigan, Florida, the Virginia, South Carolina game, and of course the 2 playoff games. I've got a number of videos from various bloggers and broadcasters and myself with a game analysis. So check those out. So on the live chat, we have DeAndre. Go Tigers. You got to be amped, DeAndre. Another college football playoff appearance, and your team is a double-digit favorite. Although I know in our conversation the other night, you said, I respect Notre Dame. I think they're good. I think it's going to be a closer than expected game by Vegas. Positive vibes. DeAndre, Notre Dame won't be able to run the ball. That's the anticipation. That's the expectation for this game, is that Notre Dame won't be able to run the ball. Correct. That is going to be key. In talking to Ben Belden from Slaps a Sign the other day, he said we need to get some kind of push. We need to be able to get them to at least acknowledge and respect the run. We're not going to run for 200 yards in this game. But if Dexter Williams can get loose a couple times, and he's not going to outrun the Clemson defense for the 80-yard touchdown run like he has some other defenses, most likely those bursts are going to be in 15 and 20-yard chunks. They're not going to be 50 or 80-yard chunks like he's been able to accomplish against slower defenses. But Dexter Williams, a good day for him, I think, would be pushing 4 yards a carry. If he can do something in the 3.5 to 4 yard per carry average, that is going to help out Ian Book immensely. Hound Dog says, DeAndre Crawford, good luck to your Tigers today. I've been trolling about this game. And back and forth between Clemson and Notre Dame, with Hound Dog making a prediction of Clemson by 17. Hardwired to self-destruction. I want to see Bama and Clemson lose, but don't think they will. That would make a Notre Dame-Oklahoma final. I'm pretty much good with anything that happens today. I just want to see 2 really good games. And I kind of doubt it, especially in the nightcap. I just can't get past Alabama, Oklahoma offenses are both right here. I had a number of Oklahoma fans who were offended when I said Alabama was just as talented and just as good on offense. Actually, I clarified that I believe that Alabama's better in terms of talent and personnel, better than Oklahoma on offense. I'm not talking about the productivity of the offense. I'm talking about sheer talent that will move on to the next level. Oklahoma is known for having the best offensive line in the country. They certainly have the best in the Big 12 and one of the best in the country. But who have they played that has really tested that offensive line. They have not faced a Mississippi State or LSU defensive front or a Georgia defensive front. They have faced Texas twice. TCU's got a formidable defensive front. Iowa State has a strong front seven, but they do not have ultra talented, especially talking about TCU and Iowa State, ultra talented defensive fronts. Oklahoma's offensive line is going to be tested like they've not been tested this year by the Alabama defensive front. Roll Tide Roll from Terry Ann. Good to see you on the live chat, Terry Ann, and William Lee as well. Hound Dog, 'twas the night before Christmas, and in Tuscaloosa, men marry women who love. Yeah, we'll go move on from there. Hound Dog, that's what I get for not having a screener and not screening the comments and just spitting them out. Hound Dog, Notre Dame fans have pissed me off so much this week. I'm not rooting for them anymore. Perhaps the most uppity fan base in sports. Navy Thomas is in the house. Good to see you. Tom, good to see you, man. You're right there with me all the time. I appreciate it. Navy Thomas passes on to me more college football cutting edge breaking news information than anyone. He wants me to know, hey, even if you can't jump on this, maybe you're at work or working on something else or whatever you're involved in, or don't feel like you've got much to say about this. I want to make sure that you know that this is happening, that this just broke. This coach is on the hot seat. This guy just got fired. There's a graduate transfer here. He sends me these notices just to let me know, hey, if you want to jump on this, here it is, in case you missed it. And because I'll go to work for about 10 to 11 hours at a time and be somewhat cut off, despite where I work, somewhat cut off from the college football news world, Navy Thomas, that's awesome. And if I don't jump on about 10 straight, that doesn't mean I don't acknowledge them. I just can't. And I know you understand that. So Tom does an amazing job of keep me informed on Twitter. Parker McCauley, this is the first time I've seen your handle in the live chat, so welcome to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Likes Michigan winning 28-21. That should be the logical, sensible prediction there. Michigan's a better team than Florida, and even if they lose today, I would still say that Michigan's a better team. If they play 10 times, fully loaded, fully stocked at full strength, both teams, I would expect Michigan would win 8 times. I am picking Florida to pull off the upset today. Clemson, Notre Dame, 35-17. Navy Thomas, okay, Mark, who in the hell is the helmet on the bat with a K on it? Navy Thomas, my beloved Kent State Golden Flashes. The Kent State Golden Flashes. I got to tell you, though, I can't even tell you right now who coaches at Kent State. If I saw it in a multiple choice, I'd be able to hit it. But I don't keep up with Kent State football to the degree that when I arrived on campus, we had orientation night in 1986. So do the years, you can do the math and tell how old I am. So I probably shouldn't have thrown that out there. But anyway, it was 1986, the fall of 86. Yeah, I graduated from high school in 86. One of the nights of orientation, Alabama and Ohio State were playing in the kickoff classic. So what did I do? Bolted out of orientation because I just couldn't have that. Also, I only attended one Kent State football game, and that was because they played the last weekend of August, my freshman year. And basically, there were hardly any other college football games that day. Maybe there was a big game at night, like a kickoff classic kind of game that night. But basically, everybody was off until the next week. It was week 0. I don't think we called it week 0 at the time, but that was my one Kent State football game under Glenn Mason, who then, of course, moved on to Kansas, then Minnesota, had a nice career, especially with the Golden Gophers, and is now with the Big Ten Network, and who joined us here at Mark Rogers TV about a year ago. So anyway, Glenn Mason was the coach. They went 7-4, which, of course, catapulted him to the Kansas job. And I believe, I can't remember who the next coach was. I believe it was Coach Pease, I believe, was the next coach at Kent State, but they barely won a game my final 3 years. They went something like 1-10, 0-11, 1-10 in 1988, 9, and 90. Those were my last 3 years. And I only went to the one Kent State game. That's because the major teams were not playing that day. And after that, I was just locked in, just the way I am right now. All right. So that's the K. The Golden Flashes. Hound Dog will be shocked if the underdogs win today. Terry Ann, I'm sorry that you have the flu. I hope you feel better. I do not know how to treat the flu. I don't know if you just have to endure it and try to cover it up with medicine. I don't know if you get a flu shot. I never get a flu shot. But I am very sorry to hear that, especially on the day of your huge game against Oklahoma. So I hope that you're not ailing too much, that you can enjoy it. Well wishes for Terry Ann. Good to see. Lots of water. Always a key. Lots of water. Every day in life, lots of water. Water, water, water. Parker McCauley. I would like to know who you root for, Parker. And welcome to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. I'd like to also know how long you've been watching. NCIS Fanatics 21's official predictions: Alabama 45, Oklahoma 24. I believe somewhere else, I was asked on Facebook for my prediction, and I went with, I think this is a little high. I'm going to back it off a bit. I think Alabama is going to hold the ball a little bit and try to keep Oklahoma off the field. Not in a completely overt way, like they're stalling, they're running the play clock, but they're going to use their run game to dominate Oklahoma up front. So Alabama has the capability of scoring quickly, just like Oklahoma, but why not choose to be aggressive in the pass game, but not be pass happy? The one significant advantage Alabama has offensively, besides those NFL receivers going up against those small cornerbacks for Oklahoma, is to pound Oklahoma with a running game. And until Oklahoma can prove that they can stop it, and most likely they'd have to stop it with extra guys in the box, that opens other things up, that Alabama should take 4 and 5 minutes to score. So that's going to squeeze the clock a bit. There's still going to be a lot of scoring in this game, but I said 52-31 earlier in the week. I'm going to back off a touchdown on that. I love NCIS Fanatics prediction here. I love it at 45-24, but I don't want to steal your prediction. But I'm on record earlier in the week for saying 52-31. I'm definitely taking Alabama to cover the 14 points. I have put my money where my mouth is, as I do with all the bowl games. All the Power 5 played bowl games, I back it up and I work my system in actuality. I just don't work it in theory. I put it into play. So I've got Alabama minus the 14, and I don't want to steal your prediction here, NCIS Fanatic 21, but I love it, 45-24. How about 45-27? 45-27 Alabama. 45-27, that's my on-the-record prediction. Florida wins over Michigan. (23-20). South Carolina over Virginia, 30-20. And that first semifinal game, Clemson, Notre Dame, I'm going to go Clemson winning 31-23. 31-23 Clemson. I'll take Notre Dame in the 12.5 points. And Clemson wins. I think they get out to a 1-2 score lead, and it's one of those games where Clemson is never seriously, after halftime, not seriously threatened, but it's a game. It's still worth watching. It's 17-10. Then it's 20-10 after kicking a field goal. Then it's maybe 27-10, but then it's quickly 27-17. So Notre Dame's right there knocking, but they never have the ball down by 3, ready to score to take the lead. Clemson always keeps them at a distance, but Notre Dame keeps it relatively close and interesting. Unlike the first game, that after halftime, we've got Alabama in the lead by 2 to 3 touchdowns all the time. I believe that somebody has donated to the cause here. So I am Andrew Mills. Just wanted to send a bit of change to you. Today, your channel is really good, even if I am a fan of a most irrelevant team, Colorado. Nobody's irrelevant here at Mark Rogers TV. Andrew, I want to know, first of all, want to let you know that I cannot express how much I appreciate the contribution. Thank you so much. It will be put to good use. I have a vision for this channel, or a vision that may have to be altered in terms of my career aspirations, that involve almost nothing else but talking about college football, analyzing college football, watching it, breathing it, rating it, ranking it, doing all the things that we do here at Mark Rogers TV. Andrew, I would love to know, in addition to you being a Colorado fan, how long you've been watching. But thank you so much for the contribution. I appreciate it. And want to let you know that the only reason we don't talk about Colorado football on a regular basis is not that I don't want to. I think Navy Thomas and NCIS Fanatic 21 and a few others would be the best ones to attest to. I want to talk about everybody. If I had the time and the resources and the outlet, I want to talk about everybody. And you see this in the off season when I do schedule breakdowns of everyone and I do team previews on everyone. I would love to talk about the Colorado-Utah game and the Colorado-Arizona State game. But obviously, I'm one person, and I've got to focus on the big games and the games that I see. I did see Colorado play Nebraska wire to wire this year. I saw Colorado-UCLA wire to wire this year. And I believe those are the two Colorado games I saw start to finish. Was the USC game on a Thursday or Friday night? Then I would have seen that start to finish as well. I believe they were. So I saw Colorado play at least 3 times start to finish. But we love Colorado football and want to cover everybody, especially in the Power 5. And that's my aim. And of course, I can't. There's just not enough time. We got Michigan, Florida lining up, and we will take you into kickoff, maybe catch a couple plays, and then I'll let you guys go. And yes, I will start a watch party for the Clemson Notre Dame game that I will be cutting instant analysis on both Virginia, South Carolina, and Michigan, Florida. I, of course, can't watch both games at the same time. Well, I can, but I can only focus and take notes on one game at the same time at one time. So that's going to be Michigan, Florida. I'm going to put DVR up. I am talking like in reverse after sleeping like 3 hours. I'm talking in reverse today. I will put the South Carolina, Virginia game on DVR, and we'll get to that analysis probably later today. Andrew, again, thank you so much. Enjoy the football today, everybody. Michigan, Florida, and, of course, South Carolina and Virginia. So you've got my predictions. Clemson wins 31-23 over Notre Dame. Alabama wins over Oklahoma 45-27. We've got Florida with the upset over Michigan 23-20. And we also have South Carolina 30, Virginia 20. And after last night's debacle, in which I did not do well predicting the games, I went, I picked Iowa State, I picked Auburn, I picked West Virginia. So I went 1-2. That leaves me at 13-4 straight up. And I went 1-2 against the spread last night. I got Iowa State +3, but I picked Purdue. I can't believe I picked Purdue in 3.5 points. And then I took West Virginia plus the 2.5. So I went 1-2 against the spread. That leaves me at 12-5 against the spread. Florida, Michigan kicking off. I'm getting new glasses this week, by the way, or in about 2 weeks. They are being ordered. These things are ancient and they're all bent. Florida kicking off wearing the white against the Michigan blue. And, of course, South Carolina, Virginia also kicking off on ABC. I don't want to miss any comments, so I'm going to get to these in just a second before I head off to watch the football games and let you guys do the same. Michigan's probably going to let that go. No, he's going to bring it out. That was a dumb move because he got stopped at the no. Hey, credit the kickoff returner there. Who was that? To get it out past the 30-yard line. So good kick return by Michigan when it looked like that was a dumb move. So I made the call too quickly on that one. Ohio State should be in the Invitational over Choklahoma. All right. Anybody else say anything directly to me? Don't see anything else. The unknowns or new guys are best. Auburn kicked butt yesterday. Just slip him a name on Twitter. Mark, could use any ideas for a contributor for Colorado? Andrew. Navy just hit me up on Twitter. I don't know exactly what that means. Jan716, looking good. Keep up the good work. I appreciate it. All right. I don't see anything else in here. If anybody commented to me or threw me any questions that you want to have answered, just send those in any of the comment section to any of the videos, and I will get to them. All right. Michigan, Florida. I'm amped up to see this one, even though they've played 3 times in 24 months. And also, of course, the Virginia, South Carolina game. I will be tracking both of them, providing instant analysis at some point during the day. And, of course, the college football playoff games. And we'll be back here at some point near the end of these games leading into the Clemson-Notre Dame game. We will see you guys soon. Enjoy the football.